Okay, so let's talk about what a y-intercept is. We know there is a slope now, but there's something called a y-intercept. It is where the line passes through the vertical y-axis and the x is 0. Think about it. Here's my y-axis right here, right? This is y, this is x. So I've got a line that goes like this. Well, it crosses the y-axis right there. That ordered pair has to have a 0 there. And then however up, farther up on this has got to be a positive, I don't know, 1 or 2, but it's got to be a positive number, okay? So the other symbol is a B, all right? So this is another letter. The slope is an M. The y-intercept is a B. We have to learn that. I don't know where they get these letters. This is what they decided. And that is where the graph crosses the vertical axis. So the B is represented in the slope-intercept form of a linear equation. Okay, so look at this thing here. We know the y is kind of the end number. Some people refer to it as the output number. The m is the slope or the rate. The x is the x as in number of something, or the x and the y in the coordinate pair. Okay, the b we used to call the start number. That's the symbol for it. Okay, plus b. When it's in abstract form, as in it's not in a word problem, it doesn't have a context, it tends to be positive or negative. If it's in a word problem, it tends to go through quadrant 1 where all the positives are. But B can be, if you have, like, let's see, if this line goes through down here, this little dot right here would be 0 still, but then it'd be like a -3 or something. So B can be negative when we're talking about things that aren't, populations and things like that. So just numerically speaking, you can have a negative B all the time. But the formula has a positive right here because most of them are positive. Okay? So let's see. Whoa. Something's getting awful glitchy. What's going on? In the world. Whoa. Hang on with me. What happened? How did I get back to lesson 2? I was in lesson 3. I was there. Okay, just trying to erase. It doesn't want to erase. It's getting glitchy. Oh, come on. There. Using my finger. I wonder if my pen's dying. Okay. Sorry about that. All right, we're back. All right, so that's a lot of information here. So let's look at that stuff. So for each equation, identify the slope and the y-intercept. So here's my equation. Y equals 2x plus 5. So the slope is always in front of the x. Remember, the rate is always in front of the number of something. So the slope is 2 in this equation, and the b, or the start number, is 5. It can be 5, but it also, if you had to graph it, it would be 0, 5. Okay? That's all this is. We're just sort of identifying things in this equation now. This one looks a little funny because it's missing some stuff. Remember, we did some word problems that didn't have a start number. That's what this is. Okay, so there is no b. Well, you don't see one, but of course it can be 0. Okay, if there isn't a start, and if you're graphing it, the line of the graph goes through the origin. So that doesn't change the fact that the number multiplied by the number of something is the rate or the slope. Okay, and the y is still the end number. All right, and then over here we have, let's see, there's things you don't see. Maybe it's helpful to sort of write them in. This is y equals 1x minus 7. That's the same thing. You can do plus or minus 7, but either way you look at it, that's your b. And your 1 that you don't see in there is your what? That's your slope. So if you don't see 1 there, but you see an x, it's a 1. Okay, slope is 1 for this one. Number 4, what is all that? I'm missing the slope. The 5 is a b, a lowercase b, sorry. And I don't see an x at all. You know why you don't see an x? Is because the slope is 0. Okay? So again, in algebra, there are things that are there that you don't see, and this is, so y equals 5 is the shorthand way of saying y equals 0 times x plus 5. The rate is 0. The line looks flat. Okay? It's not changing. Things are not changing. So it doesn't matter what x is because the rate is 0. So the y will always be 5. I think when we graph this, this might help to see what that looks like. Okay. This one here, let's see. The m is -6 and the b is -8. That negative belongs to that 8. Okay. This is the same as y equals -6x plus -8. The b is negative, okay? The y-intercept will be negative where the line goes through there, all right? Now, this is an equation that's kind of weird like number 4 was, only it says x instead of y. Look, all these other ones were y. This one's x. Why is that? Well, it's not going to have a version of the slope-intercept form because it doesn't have a slope that exists. So you can't put it in slope-intercept form, okay? There is no b because it doesn't cross the, think about it, it's not going to cross, if something goes up and down, it's not going to cross the y-axis, okay? Even if it's over here, okay? It's not going to cross the y. So there is no b, there is no slope. It does never hits y, so x is 0. In this case, there's no y, there's no b. Okay, so let's put it. Let's look at the graphs. I think it would help to look at the graphs. So this one here. Notice that the line of the graph, that's this thing here, that's the line of the graph on the rectangular plane, coordinate rectangular plane. Okay, this dot right here is the y-intercept at 0, 2. So b is 2 or 0, 2. I take it either way. Watch what your homework wants. Just 2, or they want an ordered pair would be 0, 2. Okay, what is the slope of something that goes flat across? That's 0. Okay, it says find the y-intercept and find the slope using rise over run. Well, these don't have rise over run, so that's done. Okay, where is the b on here? Well, where it goes through the y-axis is at 0 or 0, 0. Okay, the slope, let's see, how do we get from one point to the next point? Well, recognize that these are intersections here. So 1 up, 1 over, 1 up, 1 over, 1 down, 1 back. Slope is 1, period. Okay, you can put the ordered pairs and do the math and crunch it out, but it's pretty clear that it's a slope of 1 going through 0, going through the origin. Okay, let's look at number 3. Right here is your b, which is at what? It's a -1. It's at what ordered pair? If they wanted the ordered pair, it's 0, -1. Let's see, the slope, where does it go? It looks like it goes through here, 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 any one of these places. So it's going, the rise is what? The rise is only 1. The rise is 1, but you're going back. This is a positive or negative slope? This is a negative slope. So it makes sense that we're going back 2. You can go down 1 and over 2, but you're still getting, remember that -1 over 2 is the same as 1 over -2. Okay? This is kind of showing you that that is a true statement. So that's my B, and that's my, that looks a little funny, but sorry about the sloppiness here. Let's write it up here. -1/2 and -1 is my B. Okay? This one is a vertical line. What are the slopes of vertical lines? They do not exist. Okay? Do they have a y-axis? It never hits the y-axis. This axis right here, it never comes through there. So you can write none, or does not exist, actually. Okay, I'll take any of those things. You cannot put a 0, though. 0 is different. This number 2 has a B of 0. Okay, this one doesn't touch the y-axis, so it doesn't exist. It has, neither thing exists. It doesn't. What is the equation of this line? If it doesn't exist, this is actually an x equals -3 line. Okay, can't put it in slope-intercept form. Let's see, this one here is a positive slope. It goes through 1, and its slope, where is a dot? There's a dot. Where's an intersection? There's one there. So here, here, and here. So up 2 over 3. Up 2 over 3 is my slope for a positive slope. Number 6, there is my B. On the test, when you're given a graph, find the points, find B. That's really just, those are the first 2 steps of looking at any graph. So B is what? This point is a 0, 2. So B is 2, or 0, 2. The slope, let's see, here's a dot, there's a dot. Look really close at the intersections, okay? The intersections. And then how do you get from one dot to the other? Up 2, back 2. Up 2, back 2. This is a negative slope, right? So it makes sense this is going to be a -1. That means, oh, you know what that means? That means I didn't notice that those also go through there. Okay, sometimes they look really close. So that's what I say on the test. If you cannot see where things intersect, let me know, and I will put a dot on there for you. But I won't tell you what the ordered pair is, or if there's another one, or whatever. But I will put, if you can't see, let me know, and I'll put the dots on there, even during a test, okay? It's not an eye chart test. You know, you can't always do that to see where the dot is, and I get that. So I've had people take pictures of their phone and then blow it up on their phone to see where the dot is. You won't be able to do that on a test. So I will provide the dot for you if you don't see it, okay? All right, there's a little more going on in this Explore here. Looks like a lot more. Let's see. What is the top here? It is create an equation now. Okay. So this is the form that's very important. Okay. There's more in the book on those pages. Write the equation in slope-intercept form with a slope of 3/4 and a y-intercept of that. So they're just telling you M is 3/4, B is this. Put them in right there. Okay, I also accept y equals 3/4 x plus a -3. If you're going to double the signs up, put parentheses under around the -3. Either way, okay? Let's see, write the equation of the line that goes through the following points and has a y-intercept. So this one didn't hand you the slope, so you need to calculate it out. x1, y1, x2, y2. Right? 4 minus 2 over 3 minus 1. That gives you a 2 over 2, which is a 1. Okay? That's what the slope, and the y-intercept is b. So if the slope is 1, I also accept this. I don't know if your homework is going to accept that. Remember, an x is just a 1x. Okay? So when the slope's 1, you need to see the x. It's just a 1x. Okay. Do that again with these two, and apparently the slope comes out to a -2, and it doesn't say anything about the y-intercept anywhere, but hopefully you recognize that 0, 4 is the y-intercept. Think about that. 1, 2, and then 0, 4 would be up here, There's my line. That's my B. That's my y-intercept. So you have to recognize that. So that way you can just put it right there. Okay, there's my slope. There's my B. Okay. This one is in this form, which is not in slope-intercept form. So you need to change it around. So step one, to get the y alone, this is why we did this. I need this term. So that means I don't want this term. Let me get rid of the little line. Okay, I want this term. So that means I'm going to move this one away. Okay, 3y equals, I'm not going to, let's put this in slope-intercept form, 2x plus 12. Shove the 12 over because the 12 is going to end up kind of where the b is. This is the negative 2 is going to be part of your slope. Not finished yet though. I need to do this. This is why we have to separate things. So y equals negative 2/3 x plus what? 12 divided by 3 is 4. So that turns into this. Write the following equation in slope-intercept form. This equation turns into that in slope-intercept form. We do that so we can look here and say, what if they said, okay, turn this into slope-intercept form and tell me the slope. So the slope is negative 2/3 and the b is 4. That's why you turn some things around. You cannot tell that from the standard form here, but you can if you turn it around into slope-intercept form, and that's why it tells you that. Okay, so to write the equations of the lines, this is going to take a long time. So I'm going to stop here and then add this to the practice. Okay.